Welcome back to another episode of Spittin Hoops, episode 104. Jeez, I messed that up. Episode 104 of the Spittin Hoops podcast. But when you have 104 of these, like we have, or 103 of these, like we've done, sometimes you get it wrong. Um, just like some NBA teams have been getting it wrong this offseason. Ha 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 ha. But who hasn't been getting it wrong this summer is Team France, by the way. Just putting that out there. No mistakes made this offseason. I do have to slide that in there. No, we're a basketball podcast, but repping my boys. Anthony, how are you feeling? Obviously, it's been a tumultuous little summer for you. Um, Messy intro for me, but how are you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better than a certain Paraguayan senator might be feeling
Oh,
about this
really?
time.
Dude,
Yeah.
I mean, I also wouldn't want a dictator staring down my back, man. I mean,
Is the Paraguayan senator, is there a dictator staring down her back, or is that
yeah.
Mbappe is so good that he's a dictator?
He's the dictator.
He is the
Mbappe, you haven't
dictator.
seen, you haven't, there's some good,
Oh,
there's some good. He's the
the
dictator.
communist dictator?
Yeah, we
Like
call
the
him the dic.
LGBTQ
We've been,
communist dictator?
yeah, we've been calling him the dic. Everyone in France has been calling him dictator. Actually,
That's
yeah,
pretty sick.
it's been some pretty good moves. Actually, the players started calling him the dictator. It's great.
That's
Um,
that's
it's
sick.
a, yeah, it's actually it's bad. Sorry, now I'm getting too deep in the lore. It's bad because his nickname is Mobutu now, because the dictator and his name is Mbappe. But like
Oh, that's not good.
Mobutu is like
Not a good,
not a good
not a
dude,
good guy.
not a good
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
anyways,
Objectively.
Mbappe, pretty. By the way, first for a star in a big sport, pretty dope dude, I will say. Seemingly. But now we're way too off track. Now we're way too off track. Now I'm just glazing French football on my basketball podcast. Um, with that, let's just dive right into the news of the day that matters here, which is NBA news. Obviously, a lot's been going on. This has probably been one of the best off seasons that we've had in a very long time, and we can kind of get into the nitty gritty of why that is as we go. But so we're gonna go through kind of all the transactions that we missed since the last podcast. Kind of the last big transactions that we hit on in the last podcast were Giannis, that trade, Claxton, that trade, and LaMelo trade. Obviously, the Claxton trade was part like kind of the LaMelo trade in a big way. But anyways, that's kind of what we're gonna go through all those transactions, and then we're going to do a draft at the end. So yeah, if you just want to see the draft, skip to the end. But yeah, anyways, Anthony, do you want to take us into these transactions? Or do you want me to take us in?
Yeah, why don't you send it and then we can just riff.
Bet. So yeah, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna talk about the transactions pretty quickly, and then you can pause me if there's one that's interesting we can go through.
Sure.
So these are out of order, by the way, audience. These are we're gonna go through trades first, and then we're gonna go through free agency signings. So first trade we're going to talk about the Suns trading Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and the 2033 unprotected first for Miles Bridges, a second round pick, and then this weird first round pick swap thing that's got going on. This least favorable of the Charlotte, Utah, Cleveland, Minnesota pick. Um,
Yeah. What the fuck? No idea what the Suns are doing here at all. Good for Charlotte for getting out from under Miles Bridges AO and also getting a unprotected first round pick and good role players.
Miles Bridges is not a good enough player to be trading your 2033 pick. I know you're scared that Devin Booker is going to leave, but if you're sacrificing picks 7 years down the line for a team that was the seventh seed, um, you know, like it's just not going to be. It's not going to be fun to be a Suns fan for the foreseeable future. They're kind of in this Clippers situation, and the Clippers got get out of jail free card with the Zubac trade, and now the Kawhi trade, which we'll get to, right? Um, yeah, like what does this do for you? Are you netting a pick for Miles Bridges in the future? Also, is he young enough where that's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm curious what they're hoping for. Does he have like a career year and then he gets flipped again?
No, I don't know. I think the strategy where they're just leveraging all their picks via and like it's dumb to be honest. I feel bad for Devin Booker actually. They would be much better off. It's stupid, but like 2 years ago they would have been much better off just bottoming out completely. Stop
Mm.
trading all the picks because actually like 20 like this is the 2033 pick. I think they traded a 2032 pick already doing the same shenanigans thing, you know. Um so yeah, like what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyways. Do you remember I think yeah, it was a 2032 pick that they split into three swaps. Do you remember that? We
I,
covered that trade. It was once upon a time we covered that trade. They split their 2032 picks into three really shitty swaps in like yeah, so like they split that pickup. They split this pickup. If you're Devin Booker, probably should have just waited till 2032. Like I'm exaggerating, but
yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand this for them. Um, I don't know. He wants to be there for his career. So is this trying to help? What's their starting lineup? Is it now? Who is it? It's Miles Bridges and Devin Booker and Jalen Green.
Gillespie, because he got that extension.
You got and Mark Williams.
Yeah. And you know, don't get me wrong,
D
I actually don't
Brooks.
hate yeah, I don't hate Mark Williams actually. I thought he was pretty good. Um, I don't think he's special in any way, which I think is how I feel about most of the team. I mean, they definitely just have a mandate from ownership plus Devin Booker to like try in any way, shape, or form. And the issue is them trying like has gone too far. You know, you're trading 2032 picks is why just run back the team from last year. You made the playoffs. Who's to say
Yeah,
people don't get
bro.
better, bro? Who's to say people
Yeah.
don't get better? Who's to say Malwalk that can't contribute?
Man, they should have just held on to that 21 team, bro.
It's really just yeah, just run it. Just run it through. And even if they had stumbled, at least you'd still have picks. You'd have McCall Bridges.
Yeah. They shouldn't have panicked after that team went sideways. It's a shame.
Yeah. Anyways, we don't have to spend too much time on them because honestly, the Suns are whatever.
Yeah, they're stunning. All right. Who else we got?
This is actually we'll get to the John Morant trade later because I got a little spiel on that. Let's get to the juicy one. The Raptors trade Kawhi Leonard to the Clippers, or it's the Clippers. Jesus, the Clippers trade Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, two unprotected first, one pick swap, and two second round picks. Yo, let me be honest. The Raptors are getting robbed are getting robbed. And the NBA, you know, I'm joking here, but they agreed, you know, they nixed the trade until the results of this aspiration stuff comes down. And actually, the NBA did not nix the trade. They said that, you know, Kawhi agreed to this contract with the team. And if there's issues with the contract, if you're the team paying him via that contract, it's your fault. You accrue the penalties. So that's why the Raptors did not want to make the trade, which suggests that Kawhi could get suspended in the future. You know, that's a I think it's pretty apparent to all of us that it probably should have happened a while ago, along with some people higher up in the Clippers front office. But you know, so be it. Um, but if I was the Raptors, that nix this trade. This is a terrible trade for them. Sorry, but like I see the vision, but this is you are trading for an idea of a player. This is not the player you think you're trading for. You know,
Yeah.
like
And how many games are you going to get from Kawhi? Is like the question here.
I mean, this is you know, yeah, this is kind of a ridiculous package. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it is a pretty ridiculous package. I wonder if other teams could have traded for such a ridiculous package for better players. Like maybe my team. Maybe we could have traded for a better package, but I guess we didn't. And I wonder if we could have some situation where our trade gets nixed. That'd be nice.
Why not use this package on Jalen Brown if I was the Raptors? You know, I don't think Kawhi Leonard is a better basketball player right now than Jalen Brown. You know,
And younger.
and Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy, when he's playing, when he's firing, yes, sure, he is better than Jalen Brown in a vacuum, maybe. It's like
Yeah,
also
I'd
I
say so.
just like also like when have we seen that in Toronto last? I mean,
Toronto,
we get it for 30 games every season.
yeah, we
So like
do. And he looks so good.
he keeps yeah, and he has 30 games where the Clippers go 22 and 8. And
Hmm.
we're like, oh, he's
Oh,
back.
he's back. Yeah.
And then they're back in the plains.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's my spiel about Kawhi. I'm over this.
I think the Raptors saw what could have happened with the Kawhi suspension, and they said, okay, we can't get screwed over a third time.
Yeah,
Like from by Kawhi specifically. Like
100%.
he did this in 2019 when he left. And bro, that team would have been so good if he had stayed. If Kawhi Leonard had stayed, that Raptors team, they probably would have repeated.
Yeah, 100%. Or
So
like they could have. They would have had
they could have,
a
yeah,
strong opportunity to do
yeah.
so.
Or
You
down the
know,
line or something, yeah.
instead they played in Tampa Bay, right? Was that during the COVID season? They played in like Tampa Bay or some weird stadium, or was
Oh,
it the
did
year
they?
after? Yeah, they because they couldn't play in Canada because lockdown protocols.
Respect.
Yeah, it was
Damn, and they
crazy.
were good. They were good afterwards. Shit.
Um, yeah. Anyways, we can move on from that. I think we'll probably talk about that more whenever we get the results of the investigation. But I can't imagine that this is how the trade will go down once the trade is has gone through. Why would you trade Grady Dick? Now what's the point? Just take Grady Dick out of the trade. Are the Clippers gonna say no? You know,
Right. Right.
like to be honest. Like,
Yeah, is Grady Dick like the line in the sand?
and if that's the line in the sand, then yeah, all right. For example, yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
I like the sentimentality of the trade, I will say.
yeah,
That's what I like about it.
it's like imagine a team with RJ, Kawhi, Colin Murray, Boyles, Scotty Barnes, bro. No one can dribble on that team, bro. That's like 14 turnovers a game or 14 turnovers a quarter, bro. It's like, come on. Anyways, sorry, that's me ranting. I think the Raptors actually would be pretty good if they just ran it back. They
I think
kind
they're
of
five. They're five seed either way.
they kind of lost a bunch of positionality with injuries coming down the stretch, and Pirtle, he wasn't even injured. He was,
He
it
was
was just,
just bad.
it was just
He was dealing with bad itis.
but Murray Boyle's a year older, Barnes a year older, quickly having probably hopefully a better season than last
Yeah,
year. Um,
gotta have a better season.
I don't
RJ
hate them
Barrett.
just running it back.
Hmm.
And actually, if they made a trade, they should have just made the Jaylen Brown trade. I think they don't think that Jaylen Brown is that much better than Brandon Ingram, but that Kawhi is. But I'm not seeing I'm not seeing those two gaps.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I obviously agree with that. But the league seemed to not think that way about Jalen Brown. So,
Yeah, let's dive right in. So Celtics trading Jaylen Brown to the 76ers for Paul George, a 2028 first round pick, and a 2031 first round pick unprotected, two second round picks. Yeah, I think this is a pretty fascinating trade. I think Anthony, you gotta go with the heart here. How are you feeling?
um, yeah, I mean, I definitely thought it was like a joke when I first heard about it. I forget how I found out. I forget, to be honest. It I think I found out in like some stupid way, like while I was at work, and I was like, "Yeah, good one." I was like, "No, no, he's actually going." Um, I don't know. I think that it's tough because I would have loved to see him work out with the Celtics, and I think that he has that potential. But to me, I think he has such a chip on his shoulder, and this is like no slight to who he is as a player. And you know how hard I was like, riding for him, pause, this whole year, like, first team All NBA level
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
And I think that he has a bit of a like Tatum is just so much better than him, respectfully. Like, or not so much better, but he's a better scorer, he's a better rebounder, he's a better passer. He has more of a flow within the offense of what the Celtics are trying to do. So if you have to go with one or the other, then you go with him. But the other thing was like I kind of wish that he could have been okay with being like a Scottie Pippen of the Celtics if Tatum is like the Michael Jordan. Not that obviously that comparison
yeah,
is lower, but like I wish that, and I don't think I think the Celtics just saw that that was not going to happen, and I think that that just would have gotten in the way of it. So I think that the trade was okay. Like the fact that they did the trade was okay, but I also would have been okay with them waiting until the season started and seeing how they do and can they get off to a good start and like can what they're hoping for actually happen. And then you can make this trade because there's no way that like once teams just needed to see Jaylen Brown hooping again because the last time they saw him, he was bricking the Celtics out of the first round. So if they had seen him, in March or in April or even, in October, November this coming
Yeah.
year, maybe that changes. So I just thought that they like I'm trying to be like from my like neutral perspective, I thought that they were just very emotional, and it's such a weird swing from how Brad Stevens typically does this. So I'm just curious if there's like something that we don't know as NBA fans and Celtics fans. Um, but obviously, like this is a tough pick, and I mean, I don't hate Paul George. I like how he's a very flowy offensive player. Like I actually immediately thought of our old draft that we did a few years ago, where we did like most smooth
Yes,
NBA,
yes.
and he
Favorite players
fits
to
into
watch.
this,
Yeah.
right? So that's cool, and he has a shorter contract, right? So and we get unprotected first round pick in a few years, so that's great. But I don't understand why we couldn't have waited. That's all.
And I think that's a fair analysis, to be honest. I imagine like Brad Stevens probably worried that if this got worse than better, he's stuck with a $65 million contract that he can't move for 3 years. And like that net loss, if Jaylen Brown ever translated to being a bad contract, which he's not, clearly. Um, but if he translated into being a bad contract at some point, he just becomes an albatross. Like if he asks for a trade, for example, you know, you could go from getting value to giving up value, and I
Yeah,
think Brad Stevens was almost paranoid of that because he's got his franchise guy, Jason Tatum. And in a weird way, if he thought that Brown and Tatum was the franchise, maybe he operates differently. But I think at the end of the day, this was probably of all the times we got signals from our front office that Tatum's the guy and Brown's the second guy. This is the most evident one, obviously, trading Brown away, but the manner in which it goes down feels like a total prioritization of Jason Tatum in the long term. Uh,
right.
a feeling that he is like a transcendent player right now, even post injury in some way, shape, or form, and that he influences winning in a way that if they get in the way of that, they're not doing the team justice. Which
Right.
you know that's a bold. There, it's a bold swing because at the end of the day,
It is.
keeping Jaylen Brown would have been the expected move. Keeping Jaylen Brown was like ownership is probably not calling Brad Stevens up and like trade Jaylen Brown tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
ownership was in the building for the first full season that they had this team, and first full season, yeah, first full season they basically had this team, and Jaylen Brown's like going crazy. So yeah, like it's a really weird situation. I think Brad Stevens is really like putting putting his nuts on the table a little bit, and actually, and if you go by that logic and you go by the idea that Paul George a year from now is an expiring contract and maybe that's movable for a star, maybe that's
Hmm.
a star fits better, etc. Who knows?
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's sad though to watch the Celtics though go take a step back competitively. It did feel like the Celtics at full strength could make a run of some sort. Um, but this
I
does
mean,
feel.
I'm not gonna rule that out, to be fair. Like I think
Uh,
I like
yeah,
the Mitchell Robinson addition. I thought that was like really good and super helpful against the bigs in the East. And if nothing else, just having a good backup point guard in Mike Conley is solid too.
mhm.
And maybe this just frees up the team. Maybe Gonzalez gets a bit better, Baylor Sharman. Apparently they were so good that we couldn't trade
Couldn't
for
trade him for
Giannis with them.
Giannis.
So
Yeah,
so maybe if all this stuff happens, like
yeah,
I could see them win another 50 something games and like be right back there in the mix. So, I mean, to
and
your
it's
point,
it's
like this is
doable.
the swing, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is the
If
nuts on the
Tatum's back
table.
to that for, yeah,
Yeah,
this is nuts on the table. Tatum's a first team All NBA guy again. They could be great.
and also if he's a first team All
And
NBA
yeah,
guy, sorry, if he's a first team and All NBA guy, then you're also thinking, yes, I have a first team All NBA guy with all these assets. Yes, you're thinking that
right,
rather than before. You're like, oh, just the expectation is that he's the first All NBA guy. The expectation is that we're this godly team. And
right.
I actually think like if Jason Tatum goes back to being a first team All NBA guy, maybe you actually feel better about your situation now than if he was a first team All NBA guy with Jaylen Brown and then you got second rounded again. Like for
Right.
example.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's something to a flow and like sometimes less is more. And hey, we saw Jaylen Brown do less is more this past year. So I'm curious to see what Tatum can do with the less is more this year. Um, how do you like this for Philly?
I love it. Oh, and sorry, did I say second round? I meant first round. If you get first round, anyways.
Yeah.
When I was making my little comp, I really like it for Philly. I don't know about you, but I love the idea of having Jaylen Brown just kind of slot into the small forward slot. You start Edgecombe Maxey. Um, you know, I think a power forward who can play next to Embiid is probably not as hard to find as you might think. Like it just needs to be it really just needs to be a small forward who can shoot the three and rebound a bit. Like realistically, they don't have to play that good defense because Embiid's just
Could
so
be Jaylen
sneaks.
Brown.
Yeah, and it could be Jalen Brown. Maybe he's playing the floor, like but yeah, I'm kind of curious. What's their projected starting lineup, I guess?
Well, it's got to be those four. Um,
Dean
Probably
Wade.
not.
Dean Wade, who they
Oh, Dean Wade.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
who I guess we'll
So
get to.
that's perfect.
And they just signed Anthony Simons. Forgot about him too. But
Oh yeah, that's a good pickup.
I
Man, he
will
was good with the
say,
Celtics.
yeah, and I will say, like, when it in the playoffs, when it comes down to it, like this team should have an extremely good crunch time team. Like this should be a very good like crunch time team.
Hmm.
There's gonna be a lot of Dominic Barlow minutes, and there's gonna be a lot of like guys that I don't love shooting a lot of shots, but off the bench specifically. But yeah, I think you have to do this trade. I feel like the general
I
manager of the
also think,
Sixers is getting a
yeah.
big bonus after me.
Oh, for sure. I also think of like I'm like thinking about the starting five, and if Maxi's here and like Jaylen Brown is here, in theory, and Embiid is here, like they all have space, like away from each other to do their thing. And I feel like if that was the concern for the Celtics of like, will Tatum and Brown play the same position? Who's going to be the alpha? It's different when it's a wing and a point guard or a wing and a big. Like there's some separation of like Maxi, you bring the ball up. You're the point guard. You direct the offense. You're great at what you do. Like you're the guy. Embiid, you're on the block. Like you are our center. You're super skilled. And then Jaylen Brown, you can go do what you do. So I think like that is it is a great place for him to have landed. If he's not going to be the I'm the guy role
On a
where he
team.
can't be on this team.
And I will say the one thing we'll see is we'll see a big drop off in points per game, in my opinion. Just like there's not going to be as much shots to go around. You got Edgecombe, Maxi, and B.
Yeah.
Frankly, he should probably take the second most shots on the team behind Maxi, but
Yeah.
he'll probably take the third most.
Oh, behind
uh,
Embiid.
behind Embiid, yeah. I mean, just per game. Embiid's
Well,
lane, but yeah, yeah,
for the 30
for
games
the 30
Embiid. But
games.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But I do think there's going to be something interesting where Brown will have to min-max his gameplay a little bit more in terms of he's not going to be able to shoot in the mid-range as much. You know, there's already a lot of mid-range shooters on their team, and on the Celtics last year, he was the only guy with clearance to shoot mid-range shots. And then when Tatum was healthy, it's obviously Tatum too. It's not like Derek White. It's like creating in the mid-range, but he's going to have him beat on the block, take up space. Maxi's obviously going to want to take some of those shots, and B's going to want to take some of those shots. So I do think it is going to be a little bit interesting because we always talk about the analytics and like the analytics say this and that, and this and that. And actually, Jaylen Brown, I think this season will actually play kind of a more analytically driven game, but we'll see a regression in points per game. Actually, like I think that's
Right.
just, and it's not because that's like he's bad or something. It's just like the way he's going to need to play for the team to be successful. Like Jaylen Brown's putting up 30 a game. I don't really see this team being successful unless he takes a jump of some sort. Unless he takes an efficiency jump of some sort. I think that might work.
If he does, Lord have
And
mercy.
and to be honest, wouldn't count it out. I mean, if Jaylen Brown just tacked on a few percentage points across the board on offense, he would go from probably being this guy that people view as like more inefficient to like, oh, you're an A option. So, anyways.
Yeah. Interesting trade, crazy trade, tough to, decade of Jaylen Brown in Boston is over.
Is it sad to see a little bit? Like, was it a little bit? I mean, I'm sure you saw the tea leaves, but it was still a little bit like jarring to like, whoa, this is real.
It wasn't a Luca got traded kind
Yeah,
of feeling for
of
sure,
course.
but it was a tepid version of that, I would say. Like this is, yeah, to your point, the tea leaves had always been there, and um, I think just seeing how that first round ended was like this feels like the end of something. And Brad Stevens said that the second, the season that he said that something's going to change.
Yes,
So,
you said you're not going to see this team back again.
right. Yeah. Maybe don't blow three straight games and then this doesn't happen. So who knows?
Yeah.
That's
Damn.
but that's how it goes. That's how it
That's tough.
goes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough. I mean, it really feels like the end of the era. I don't really remember the Celtics. You know, Brown, right, is picked in that draft when Kyrie and Hayward come. Like he's a rookie on that first team, right?
That
Or the
was
year
Tatum.
before. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Tatum. So he was the year before, sorry. Oh, on the Isaiah Thomas team.
Yeah.
You're right. So like Jaylen Brown's the one guy who's been here the whole time,
Yeah. He's like the
except
holdover between like different eras.
except for Brad Stevens. And so it's a little interesting to see that go down. It
Yeah.
was a little sad. Sorry to give my personal opinion. It was a little sad. I thought Jalen over the last 2 weeks clearly was pretty frustrated about his role and said some stuff about alluding to that and whatever. Um, kind of sharing a story about how he didn't feel like he was Brad Stevens' guy, like Gordon Hayward started ahead of him when he got there, blah blah blah. But I would just hope that like Jalen Brown looks at this as like a positive era and
Mhm.
like he won a chip, he won the NBA finals. I hope
Yeah.
I hope I hope he knows he was respected because even from the outside looking in, it's he's a fantastic player and I feel like he meant a lot to Celtics fans. So
Yeah.
that's just my
Oh, yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, a lot of good memories. I think like how he played in the 2024 playoffs was unreal. Like he had a couple clutch shots in that Pacers first in that Eastern Conference Finals. Like he had that three from the corner when we were down in game one, and
Unbelievable.
then game three or just the finals, but in general, but in game three of the finals, like it's 2-0 and you don't want to lose game three and be up 2-1. That's just not a good feeling. So, and I remember he had a clutch shot to like put us back up after we'd blown a bit of a lead. So, yeah, I mean, great memories, great all around game. And man, what could have been? I think that if his I think it's understandable, and I'm not going to get into like the social elements of this too, because I do think there's an element of like Boston and some like having to prove it and low-key kind of some racism. Uh, but I think he had that like short end of the stick a little bit, and I wish that he had been able to find a way to give himself some grace to be able to play more freely, because I think that there were times where he was like, I have to show people that I am the guy. Um, but and maybe yeah, he felt that way like Brad Stevens didn't have him in his corner. But that's most NBA players don't have people in their corner for a lot of their career, and you have to go out there and figure it out. So, I'm not a bitter ex, but I hope he finds greener pastures in Philly, and I hope it works out for him.
Damn. I guess
So
we'll leave it there. Little eulogy to Jalen Brown's time on the
yeah,
Celtics. Let's move to the next trade. Um,
yeah,
and I'm gonna just knock this out as like a group. Actually, I know I was gonna say trades first and free agency signings next, but let's just talk about the Lakers moves. I think it's been
mm,
hashed out a little bit because we're a little late to this, to be honest. But the Jazz basically signed and traded
yeah,
Walker Kessler to the Lakers for two unprotected first round picks, 2031, 2033, and two first round pick swaps, 2028, 2030. That is the same pick haul. Sorry, it's a bigger pick haul than what Kawhi was traded for, frankly. But also they followed that up by signing Quentin Grimes 4 years, 60 million, and Sandro Mamukelashvili for 4 years, 52 million. Colin Sexton,
yeah,
2 years, 19 million. And in a vacuum, each of those are very good players, to be honest. Like I think like
yeah,
I just have to start that off. Each of these players are of a caliber of player that is a little bit higher than probably their predecessor, barring anyone replacing LeBron James, right? Like you're basically taking LeBron money and cutting it up, but you are
yeah,
cutting it up with something else. It's called picks, and my issue with some of this trade with these moves is just the picks. I think when you have a player like Luka Doncic, if you're trading your own picks, you need to be extremely careful And I think a guy who's played, frankly, limited games over the last 2 years in Walker Kessler, he's looked really good when he's played. I actually think he's a really, really great player when he plays.
Yeah.
Um, but why? Yeah, I don't know. I can't reason to have made this. This feels really aggressive. To be honest, I guess that's just where I'm going to leave it. This feels really, really aggressive for a team that had Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I'm curious if this is a like free agency will help them out down the line. They're the Lakers. They have this and 2024 Luka, that team with Kyrie, can Austin Reeves kind of be that version? And then you have this level of depth. Um, because I mean, when he was hooping, when he was healthy, man, they looked real good. They looked really, really good. And this is Walker Kessler to obviously the shoulder issue and stuff like that. And it's happened before, I think, but it's not a lower body injury, which is good. But obviously shoulders are no joke as we get up in our 20s now and start to struggle
Yeah,
with shoulder shit.
seriously though.
And not fun, but I mean he's yeah. I mean, yeah, you're giving up a lot of picks and you're giving up a lot of flexibility for the future. But Walker Kessler is a good player. He's what, 24 years old? So, and he's certainly a guaranteed thing when he's healthy.
Absolutely. I'm just worried that what if we look back at Jalen Duren, whatever happens with him? What if he just signs
Mm,
offer sheet for the max that another team can offer him and the Pistons don't match? I think that odds are extremely low. Don't get me wrong. But like, are we sure that like if you just sign Walker Kessler to his max, are the Jazz signing him? They got Sharon already. They're gonna have to extend
right.
Keontae next offseason, or they might have to extend him now for it to kick in next offseason. Um, they have Markkinen, obviously. Um, yeah, I'm just questioning what the Jazz really gonna re-sign Walker Kessler for max? I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
did you need 4 first round picks to convince them not to? Is the other I guess that's the other side of
Mm,
it. It feels like the Jazz kind of just got down to it. We're like, we're gonna match anything. Like, period. And like the Lakers got kind of put in a cycle. It feels like Luka's upcoming contract extension eligibility, new ownership that might be rethinking Rob Pelinka's contract, for example. Um, I feel like all these things may be added to it.
right. Yeah.
It
I
didn't
mean,
feel purely basketball.
it's certainly a Luka move for sure.
Yeah.
And then also there's money stuff. I feel like I don't understand the new CBA, like the new ramifications of it because there's now these elements that don't have to do with fit as much. And it's about like money and like making sure that if we're under a certain level, we're not hard capped and we could still have mid-level exceptions and we can combine contract assets.
Yeah.
And that's just stuff that sometimes I'll look at a trade and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then you have to like unpeel the layers of why they had to do this for like this thing that could happen in 2 or 3 years.
I guess
And
that's the
it's
Jalen Brown trade, right?
right.
It's like if you don't
Um,
trade him, you got to extend him for 135 million, basically, in 2030 and 2029. I guess that's kind of
right.
the layer there, for example. So I got that's a really good comp actually.
Well, I was curious if I mean, you had had an interesting point about another trade. Um, that is
Yes.
probably like the last blockbuster trade that you had a note on. But yeah, so John Morant, like the final, like that era of the Grizzlies is done.
Yeah, for
John
Jeremy
Morant to the
Grant.
Grizzlies. Or,
All right,
or
it's to the
yeah,
Blazers. Yeah, to the Blazers.
for the yeah.
Uh,
For Jeremy Grant's contract.
yeah, for the existent, yeah, the essence of Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
uh, I mean, to be honest, yeah, this is kind of the big trade that I really thought was like the most fascinating, right? Like anyone who watches basketball, like this is what you're saying, right? Like anyone who watches basketball can clearly say, like John Morant is probably a few levels ahead of Jeremy Grant, no matter what you think of John Morant, no matter what you think of Jeremy Grant. And, John Morant is a player who was the best player on a team within the last 5 years that was a top five team in the league. You know, I don't think that was debatable in 2022. Top five team in the league, arguably top four, in my opinion. Um, but regardless, from there, it's just fallen off a cliff. And the issue is when you're getting paid that much, you become an albatross. and you get traded for albatrosses. That becomes the only other thing you can get traded for. Jeremy Grant, who has a contract 2 years, huge contract. No one wanted him. They were going to need it.
Albatross.
Exactly, albatross. And so, what I guess my kind of idea with this is salary cap is this has created like a baseballification of basketball where you are operating under these really severe parameters. Baseball, the reason it's done is it's a little different. The nature of baseball is a little different where big contracts can come back to bite you way more. Ownership dynamics, etc. Year to year money, all that stuff affects things way more in baseball. But because of that, in baseball, you have kind of this diagram of every year, how much can this organization spend? And they are trying to get the very most assets for the long term while also maintaining winning ability for the short term, if that makes sense, right? So you have these two totally conflating win cons,
Mm,
your future assets and your current ability. But every team is operating under these mega strict parameters. And usually any trade of one side is going to involve a pull on the other side. And if you're the
mm.
Grizzlies, you're never trading John Morant if you have to give up assets, for example. You're 44 million, you're a team that's, rebuilding. You're just never going to trade him if you have to pick and trade assets. But if you're another team, you're never going to give up assets for John Morant. The 76ers are not giving Paul
Mm.
George for John Morant because he doesn't fit. You have to go down the line of all these contracts. And so then the Grizzlies basically have to stare themselves in the mirror. Are we good right now? No. So the push pull, that's what I'm talking about. Future assets. There's no future,
Interesting.
but think about this. There's no future asset in this trade.
Right.
There's no, and the future asset here is the fact that they're going to give anyone else playing time. They think that the future asset of giving Cam Spencer minutes and having Jeremy Grant in the room is more valuable than the existence of John Morant on their team because the money's about the same, to be honest. And I think
Uh,
that trade really blew my mind where it's like these are not players who are in the same realm, but you have these push pulls that are happening. You have to take advantage of all the assets of all the talent because you have these aprons, and any year that you waste that, you're screwing yourself. The Kings, after they got first rounded, they re-signed Trey Lyles and Harrison Barnes, did absolutely nothing. 2 years later, they're blowing up the whole team. Darren Fox getting traded. They did absolutely nothing. And so when you waste moments like that, that's where you have problems. And so the Grizzlies can't waste John Morant, but you gotta get something. So, anyways, that's my big spiel. And I was just really fascinated. It's like this baseballification, like you're saying. A lot of the things with the Lakers, it doesn't feel like it makes sense. But you have to min max your contracts, min max your assets, and you're trying to re-sign Luka. So you have dynamics that have been at play that are really fascinating. It's not always just about winning and losing, win now and not win now in the NBA right now.
right. That's really interesting that like to your point, the Grizzlies are looking for draft capital back optimally, but because of who they're trading, that team does not want to give out draft capital to
At
take
all.
on John
Yeah.
Morant. Also, it's hard well, as a side piece or note, it might be hard for them to do that anyways. But yeah, so you have to kind of go on a horizontal move, even though the talent is worse, but you have to stick with the contract level, which is where you get a formerly Bradley Beal, or in this
Yes.
case, a Jeremy Grant.
And so in baseball, you'll see this a lot of times when you get to the back end of the season, trade deadline. You got that guy who's on a 1 year contract on your team who's worth nothing to you in the future. You go shop them for anything because you're missing the playoffs. And even though this guy's good, he offers you nothing. And if you trade him, that opens up a roster spot for a young guy to come up and pitch. And even that provides you more
Mm,
value than just trotting out the guy that will never pitch for you again. And you might as well just get some 16-year-old Dominican
right,
kid who's got a 0.0005% chance of making the league in exchange for that guy, just because what's actually valuable is getting the young guy back in the arm, or the young guy into the bullpen. And so like John Morant actually doesn't serve the Grizzlies any value. 2 years is a ton of money. You'd on if you're the Grizzlies, you'd almost be better off playing a two-way guy, and that's fine
right,
because you could keep the two-way guy. You could develop the two-way guy. So,
right.
anyways, that's I
But
think the way there.
Jaws hit his peak. We know who he is. We
Yeah.
know what he's going to be. And he's not the kind of guy that's gonna like, I don't know. I mean, he could be a mentor for the Grizzlies, but it doesn't make any more sense.
And he's getting paid too much to do it because it's taking away all your
Mm,
space to maybe because now you can pull apart Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray. Chris Murray is still young-ish, but he's Chris. It's not too great.
yeah, right, right.
But like now you can pull those contracts apart, like whatever, and or now you can develop Cam Spencer, who maybe you trade him, So like I was saying, it's like this
Mm,
base qualification, min-maxing. It's like it's like when a baseball team has two really good players coming up at the same position, you trade the old guy instead of trading the young guy. You know,
mm,
you trade the old guy to make space for the young guy, and you get a bunch of assets, and now you're like just churning. Now you've got this like farm system building through. So, anyways, because basically my long-winded spiel is in another era, the Spurs are trading for like half the guys this offseason, and the Thunder are trading for like half the guys, the other half the guys. Like if this is 2015, this would have just been arms race.
mm,
That's how the league played back then, you know, because there was no
hmm.
second apron, there was no hard cap. So you would just arms race and like so anyways, that's
And
my
so
long
what do we
that's
like? Do we like the parody or do we like the arms race? That's like people complained about the arms race. Now we're in the parody. I think I like the arms race more, to be honest with you.
really,
I
really.
th- I think I like seeing good teams get stacked together and just say let's friggin' ball. Like I hate that the Thunder have to like worry about what their future's going to look like, especially with all the homegrown talent. And
Just go
maybe there
win.
could be exceptions to that. If you homegrow your talent, maybe it doesn't have a cap hit or something like that. But yeah, I mean the Spurs are going to have to start worrying about this in a couple of years.
And maybe the counter argument is, maybe they should be. Maybe these teams should be just, acquiring all the talent and not giving a fuck about the second apron. And if you have to eat a year or two of second apron penalties to do it. But no teams have the balls to do it yet because the owners call the
That's
shots.
true.
You
That's
know.
very true. Because you have the
And
penalty. Yeah.
realistically, the Knicks are actually the team that should have done it. This year's Knicks are the team that should have done it because 7 years from now, no one will be on the team. Like all these guys are exactly of an age group that 7 years from now, you're going to rebuild around them anyways, around that time. So if you
Right.
needed to take 2 straight years of second apron penalties, why not? You know. But James Dolan's obviously cheap.
Uh,
So
yeah. Yeah, see, there's like so many levels to this because I don't care about 7 years from now when the Knicks have a chance to repeat if I'm a Knicks fan. I mean,
that's
obviously
what
an owner has a different perspective, but
that's what I've been saying
um,
about the Warriors for the last 5 years, bro.
yeah, man, go win.
Go do an arms race, like, and then guess what? When you have more arms races, teams flame out at their current situation. Players flame out at their current situation more often and ask for trades more often. That's actually
Right.
what was also happening during the arms race era that people are also like putting two and two together is that like Dame Lillard was the exception of the rule, but like everyone else was getting traded.
And
John
also
Wall
like
John Wall got traded for Russ Westbrook. And
right.
John Wall was out the year in the league the league a year later.
Yeah.
Russ
Well, he
Westbrook
also
played
fell
another
down
team.
he also fell down the stairs.
Yes.
So that's yeah.
But
But
that
I
was
get what your point is.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he was young, he was like 31.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, crazy. Also like the worst case scenario happened, right? Like the year lined up and Kevin Durant was, the Warriors had enough money to add that contract for KD. They won 2 rings, and that's very impressive. And there was one season where it was like, yawn, this is boring. They're just going to roller coaster, destroy the league. But in hindsight, 2018, they had a battle with the Houston Rockets. They almost lost that series. In 2019, injuries happened to your point. And so,
It's just favorites winning
yeah,
taints us because it's like the most ultimate confirmation bias ever.
right. But hey, back to soccer. The top 4 FIFA ranked nations are in the top 4 final spots. I don't think people are too disappointed about that.
No. And actually what they did is they expanded the tournament and it happened anyways. And actually everyone's now
Yeah.
happy that the tournament is expanded because even though the tournament's expanded, it result in the top four coming in. Yeah, I
Right.
don't know.
Anyways, so
I will say, we were around for that era. Some of the rhetoric was bad though. Like it was literally,
of
and I will
course.
say at times it really felt like if you weren't the Cavs or the Warriors, you had no shot. And obviously the Rockets bucked that trend and showed that that was not true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will
I
say
agree with yeah.
I like this era better. in terms of like competition parity. There's just
Yes.
clearly a problem with it. Just scrap the aprons.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I actually love all the rules. Just scrap the aprons.
Right.
I just yeah, and if you're gonna do the hard like because the signing trades trigger card caps now. If you're gonna do that, just get rid of the aprons and say the sign and trade hard caps you at 10 like 10 million more than wherever you're at, you know. So you still have some flexibility. Anyways, they need to let me write the CBA.
Yeah, man.
And
Yes.
sorry.
It's hard to read the future.
Yeah. And actually, the Players Association has already announced publicly that their biggest battle in this upcoming negotiations is going to be ending the apron system, which just
Wow.
goes to show you that
Really?
CJ McCollum was tweaking. He made this CBA to try to get contracts for himself, bro.
I'm trying, Jennifer.
I'm trying, yeah.
Do
He
you remember
succeed.
that?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
anyways,
Any other interesting ones?
honestly, the only free agent contract that was interesting to me was Tari Eason, 5 years, 81 million.
Mm.
And then Norman Powell to the Bulls for 2 years, 45
Oh
million.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. I was a little confused by that Bulls Norman Powell one because if I'm the Heat, I just keep him at any price. So I don't really
But but
know.
but do you? Because I also thought back to the hard cap situation. I thought the Heat were hard capped.
And I think they are, and I think they wanted to keep flexibility to bring LeBron in for a certain amount. But if they don't sign Hardaway, because that's 6 million, they were hard capped, and they have about 6 million to spend on LeBron. They have 6 million that they spent on Hardaway. What if I just offered Powell 4 years 60 instead of the Bulls 2 years 45? And he gets to
Mm.
be the best perimeter player on an extremely good team.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Like because he's older now. He's like 32. So when he's 36, he's still making 15 a year. Maybe
Yeah,
he's betting on himself, and he's like, I can get a contract extension with the Bulls,
with Bulls, which
uh, which wouldn't be surprising. They're like,
but yeah, anyways, that
hey,
was that was just what I was kind of
yeah.
curious about because they actually did have bird rates on him. But you are right, so they were aproned. Weird situation. And then Tari Eason, 5 years, 81 million, funniest
Yeah.
contract ever because half of Twitter was saying is underrated and half of Twitter was saying he's overrated. So I
That's
actually thought it was
awesome.
like a very proper contract, and it's actually interesting to see them dedicate so much money over the long term. That's like not what teams have been willing to do based off this whole offseason. I mean, you're getting 2 years contracts here, 2 years contract for like Anfernee Simons, 2 year contract for Keon Ellis, for example. Um, so it was kind of
Right.
interesting. I was kind of surprised to see him get a 5 year. He has young
Yeah, it's
dad,
a
but
big swing.
he got 5 years. So,
Yeah. I don't know if he's worth 16 mil a year,
he's
but
one of
good for him.
those. He's probably like right now not worth 16 million, but if he's shooting 40% from three by year four of this contract, he will be. So,
It's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
anyways,
He
you want
has
to
a
get
lot of
to
flashes of potential. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, let's get to you wanna leave this off?
Yeah, are we snaking?
Yeah, let's get
All right, so let's move to our top teams draft. Okay, so what we're doing is our top teams draft. So we're drafting 5 teams each. We are only picking players on these teams starting from the year 2000. So however good they've been on that team. So we're not taking prime players. For example, if one of us was going to draft the Wizards, which I can't see happening, we would not say Michael Jordan in his, 93 form type thing. Um, all right, let me take a look here at what makes sense.
you go
There's a
first.
lot. Well, yeah, I'll go first. Um, I'll honor that.
There's
Man, there's
actually
some good
some
teams.
there's some great teams actually. There's some great teams.
All right. I think with the first pick, oh man, I'm gonna get cooked after this, but I'm gonna just go with the Lakers.
Ooh.
Um, and I kind of wish that I had the second pick because then I could have picked like two of the other, top whatever. But I'm taking the Lakers. We're only doing the starting five. So we have Kobe Bryant. We have Lakers LeBron James,
Got it.
specifically like how good he was in his first few seasons. Then we have Anthony Davis how good he was in his seasons as Laker. I'm not counting Luca just because how he hasn't really been there. Although maybe I
Oh,
could have
really?
tossed him
I
in.
actually put Luka in mine.
Oh, that's a solid call. But I'm taking Pau Gasol because he won two chips,
Fire.
and then Shaq, of course, dominant Shaq. In on the Mount Rushmore of two since 2000s, like best players ever. So that's my number one pick.
Love it. Is that Mount Rushmore, Steph, KD, LeBron, and Shaq? Or swap KD for Kobe? Oh, Duncan. Oh,
Duncan.
that's on
Oh,
a whole nother pod. That's a whole nother podcast.
yeah, yeah.
We could
Great
do a whole
point.
podcast on that.
That's so true.
Okay. I've written down my next two picks. I'm just going through it one more time just to like wrap my head around it. And so okay,
Okay.
I think I'm gonna pick the Warriors and the Heat. Like this is kind of
Wars.
base.
Wait, so question. If LeBron is taken, is LeBron gone?
Did we
I'm
decide on that?
assuming that you,
Are we
no,
do?
you wouldn't have picked the Heat. You
Yeah,
wouldn't
or
have
else
picked
I
the
wouldn't have
Heat.
picked it
This,
because that's the thing. I wouldn't have picked
yeah.
it. But if you do want to do that rule, I could pivot.
Oh, all right. Let's do
Let's
that
do
rule.
it. Let's
That's
do it. Let's
crazy.
do it. Let's do it.
Just
Okay,
all right.
okay.
All right.
So,
Elite.
so the rules that we have just added in the middle of the draft is that if a player is already in the starting lineup that has already been drafted, they can no longer be picked, or they can no longer be part of the starting lineup that you are not drafting. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm about to draft the Warriors now. Whenever the Thunder are drafted, they're not going to have Kevin Durant. Okay, so I'm picking the Warriors. And with that, I will not be
Okay.
picking the Heat because
Makes sense.
if Bam Adebayo's in the starting five, probably not.
Yep.
Probably not one of the teams.
Mr. 83, come on.
Actually, to be fair, the Heat can still make kind of a fun starting lineup of um, Wade Butler, Bam Bosh, O'Neal.
Morning. No, no, no
Maybe.
more Shaq. No more Shaq.
Oh, Shaq's off the board too. Yeah, no, never mind. Let the- Get the Heat out of here. Okay, with that, I'm gonna pivot all the way to the Spurs. Um,
Spurs. Yeah,
yeah.
good call.
So I'm gonna go Duncan, Wemby, Parker, and then I don't feel super strongly here. Ginobili and
Yeah, no.
Aldridge.
Wait, Duncan, Kawhi.
Oh, Kawhi. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Why am I helping you?
No, I'm okay.
You would have got that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna leave Aldridge on the board because I want to be able to pick the Blazers in the future, maybe.
Mm, well, yeah.
So I guess I just gave him a strategy.
Damn.
But
Okay. Interesting strat going on here now. Now
okay,
that
okay, wait. So that's good. So wait,
all right.
okay, I'm picking. Yeah, I'm doing Duncan Wemby, Kawhi, Tony Parker, Ginobili.
Yeah,
Okay, and then you did. Got your
I
Lakers
did.
starting five. You did Luca, or did you do? No, you did
No,
yourself.
Luca is still on the
Still on the
board.
board like that too. And the Warriors just a death lineup, and then so Katie's off the board there.
No more KD. Interesting for all the other teams that we could inevitably pick.
That probably is going to kick a few teams off. Those sets of
Yeah.
picks probably going to kick a few
I had the Nets as a dark horse. They're gone now.
Rockets
Um,
done. Rockets probably still pickable. We'll see.
might be. Okay. Um, oh, Thunder. Oh, brutal. Dang, that really, you know, did something. All right. Well, I'm gonna nuke this and go. I mean, the Celtics for me, I feel like
Okay.
makes the most sense here. I'm gonna go with. Dang, I kind of want to take a different point guard than who I'm thinking, just to like nuke any other teams. But no, for fit, we're gonna keep this. Rondo, because Rondo was an incredible player, and I feel like people forget that. Um, I couldn't really. I was struggling with this, but I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown as the shooting guard, despite
Okay.
everything we just talked about, and then Jason Tatum as a three, Paul Pierce as the four, or switch those two. Maybe Tatum as the four, um, and then Kevin Garnett was still a defensive player of the year, was still top three MVP in his first year back. So older KG, but still take him, still like him. So that's the squad.
like that. That's who I would have picked next. Dude, this is so good, actually. I love this draft.
Yeah, this is so funny.
Wait, the picking so taking someone else out is insane.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah. All
Like
right.
instantly everything is changing. Like as
Yeah.
we
I'm literally Googling stuff as you're talking.
shoot, I go again.
Yeah, you have to go
Oh my
again.
Lord. Okay. Bum 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 ba bum bum bum. Okay. Um, I don't know if this is just an insane pick, but here we are. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna go with the Bucks, low key. So it's
Whoa,
pretty much just the
Baker.
2021 championship team, and then we add Ray Allen. And we add
Yeah.
like young, like early prime Ray Allen,
So Drew Middleton.
Brooke, and Giannis and Ray. And I think that like probably officially takes like the Thunder off of the drafting board.
Really?
I mean, no more Ray Allen and no more Kevin Durant. I mean,
Fuck.
maybe you see people that I don't, but I mean,
Dude, okay.
Jalen Williams. All right, anyways, who you
I'm
got?
about to turn up. I'm about to turn up.
All right.
By the way, I would have picked the Celtics for sure, but I don't know if I would have picked the Bucks there, and that's why.
No, that's
Personally,
that
personally.
was a bit of a panic call, but
Oh, dude, there's some really fun teams left on the board, man. Yeah,
yeah,
KD ruins quite a few teams for me though.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, what you got?
I just need to double check one thing. Okay. So I'm gonna pick the Rockets. I can't believe it.
Let's go.
I
Okay.
cannot believe it.
No, I like that. I like
I've
that.
formulated kind of a pretty ridiculous team in my head. So I got James
Hell yeah.
Harden.
Yeah.
Uh, I got CP3.
Okay.
I got Dwight
That's
Howard. I got Yao
okay.
Ming, and I got Tracy McGrady.
Wait, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So Dwight Howard. Wow, that's a so two
I'm just
centers.
playing mega. I'm playing mega double big down low, and then with CP3 distributing to my Harden McGrady wings,
Okay.
and that's like a pretty goated iteration of each of those players, actually.
Yeah. That's a great call. And that
Ooh,
I didn't realize how many parallels there were between the Rockets and the Magic.
me neither.
So the Magic for me are out as a
That's
but
crazy.
anyways, okay, so that's your you have another pick
Yeah, I
then.
have another pick. I'm actually sweating.
This
Oh
is
my
so
God. I'm
funny.
gonna do a crazy. I think I'm gonna pick a crazy pick.
Okay.
Dude, okay, well now the Thunder are cooked. Now the Thunder are cooked. CP3 Harden. Yeah, I mean you
Yeah.
got Russ and SGA, but okay, I fuck it. I'm gonna pick the Blazers. Fuck it.
Blazers.
Like,
All right.
I needed to
Tell
pick
us your
Brand
story.
Dame Lillard, Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge,
Yeah.
um, Sheed. Do I want Zach Randolph or don't shoot?
Dude, you need some scoring. I got a guy for you.
McCollum,
No, bro,
Denny,
you want
Denny.
Brandon Roy.
Yeah, Brandon Roy. Brandon. I sorry,
Oh,
I
you
thought I
said
said
that. Oh,
him.
you
I
said
thought I
that.
said him.
Oh. Lillard, Aldridge,
Aldridge
Sheed, Brandon Roy. Zebo?
Zebo, or is it Denny or McCollum there? Okay, I'm actually because Zebo is pretty twisted now for. Okay, I'm no Rasheed Wallace. He was scoring like 16 a game. I love him, but uh, dude, yeah, I guess, dude, it's gonna be Denny, bro. I can't believe it.
Damn. Respect.
They're just unethical ballers. I'm doing Denny, Zach Randolph.
Denny Hoops.
There's
All
gonna
right.
be a million fouls in this basketball game that they play.
All right. All right. I feel pretty good about where I'm gonna wrap this up. My last two.
I'm
Okay.
scared.
So my next one is going to literally be there's no defense on this team. This is the Dallas Mavericks. No
Ooh,
defense will be involved in the creation of this team. So we have Steve Nash, who was still in his like late 20s when he was on them.
okay.
Luca, because Luca hasn't been taken.
Dang.
Uh, Dirk, of course. Kyrie, because he wasn't taken. And then Michael Finley,
Nice.
who was quite
It was
good.
he was all-star, right? Or almost
Yeah, yeah, all-star.
two
On the
20-point
Mavs, he was an
games.
all-star. Yeah, he was back-to-back 82 game seasons, two-time all-star, and he had 22, 21, 20, and 19, 18. Just kind of like a very good, solid career for them. So, anyways, that's the squad for the that team. And then, man, there's some like fun shout outs here. But I guess I'm gonna close out with we were kind of clowning on this earlier, but I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat actually, because I don't think that there's any. Well, I mean, there's other options, but Miami Heat. Wow, this is so interesting with removing the players.
Wait, so you're gonna have one
Um,
last pick after this?
no, I'm at five.
What
I have
you say?
The Celtics, Lakers, Bucks, Mavs, Heat.
Oh, Bucks. I forgot to call the Bucks. You're right.
I know, easy to
My
forget.
bad. Yeah.
Um, all champions this century. Um, but I guess so are no, not the okay. Anyways,
Not the Blazers of the Rockets,
not the
actually.
Blazers. But I got Bam. I got Mr. 83. I got Jimmy Butler. No explanation needed. D Wade, top 25 player of all time. Alonzo Mourning, D-Poy, MVP candidate for 2 straight years in the early 2000s. And then kind of struggle with who to like close out with on this one, but I think I'll just go with Chris Bosh because he was still a very good player for his Heat years, even though he kind of fell off a
What
little
was the
bit.
first two you said?
Bam, Jimmy Butler,
Oh,
D
damn.
Wade,
Okay.
Chris Bosh,
That,
and Alonzo Mourning.
yeah.
So, all right, there we go. There's my five.
All
All
right.
right,
I think it's a pretty good five.
you have one more.
You got one more. So let me walk you through my thought process here. I think I can either the Suns were a team I wanted to keep for the end
Yeah,
because I wanted to sneak Nash in here.
yeah,
And it's KD. Even with KD being gone, they might be pickable. Nash makes them unpickable. So
and no Chris Paul. I don't know if he was on your
yeah,
roster,
no
but
Chris Paul. Yeah, he was on. Yeah, he was on my
no
Rockets
Shaq.
roster.
Yeah,
Supersonic slash Thunder. What I was
yeah,
kind of crafting up in my mind was a Westbrook,
yeah,
Shard Lewis, Paul George,
yeah,
SGA, Chet.
yeah, yeah.
So that was something I was thinking of, but I think I'm landing on the Knicks. I think I'm
Okay.
landing on a Jalen Brunson,
Yeah.
2000s Allen Houston,
Okay.
um, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, and
Yeah.
then the last guy probably being OG Anunoby.
Oh, not
And
Cat.
yeah, I think, yeah, or Cat, either one.
Interesting.
So that's kind of where I'm at, and I think I'm gonna go with that. I think I
I
like that
like
a little
it.
bit better. I will
All
say
right.
I think the Thunder are probably better on paper, like they have more firepower. But I love the idea of him getting a little Allen Houston in here because I actually think he would be in this line. I think he would be this starting
Yeah.
shooting guard actually. So I like the kind of variety of eras in this. So I'm gonna take the Knicks. Yeah, I'm gonna go Brunson, Houston, Melo, Stoudemire, Cat. That's what we'll do. So
I
yeah.
love this. So another team I was looking at was the Sixers.
Mm,
Iverson, Embiid, but then Jimmy Butler gets gone. Harden gets gone.
yeah.
Drew Holiday gets gone. Andre Iguodala gets
Oh
gone.
my
Mutombo can
God.
stay.
Mutombo can't stay.
But
That's
every
tough though. You're basically doing
but
Maxi Iverson and Embiid
Maxey,
Mutombo. You're not. That's not. Yeah.
right?
Oh, I didn't. You know,
Wow.
I actually that was bad of me. I did not have them on my list actually, but they're almost too evident. Where they're almost not good enough as like a top tier
Yeah,
team where all their guys got taken, like Harden,
right.
Harden's actually a great fit for a potential Sixers roster theoretically, but
Right, Harden's gone.
Harden's gone.
Paul George is no good, but
I crafted up this Suns Marbury, Nash, Booker, KD, Amari Stoudemire,
yeah,
but
yeah, that
that
was
was
a fire one.
I knew that was going to go
Sean
off the.
Marion,
Yeah, Marion too. Wolves, you could have done Edwards, Garnett, Butler, Cat, Gobert, or Cat
yeah,
Wiggins.
yeah,
Um, if you really want to have fun, you put Zerbiak in for Wiggins. Um, but anyways, um,
yeah, yeah. This is fun. Wow, the snatching a player and not being able to use him really threw a wrench into it.
yeah, that actually was really really fun.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right,
I think we
cool.
did pretty well. I think maybe I would maybe if I had to redo, I'd probably maybe pick the Thunder still. Maybe Russ SGA, J Dub Chet.
Wait, I'm gonna send this to you, and maybe you can like just post this in like our Facebook in the comments, and like people can like vote on like which amalgamation of teams would
But
win.
yeah, it's
Um,
Knicks from the last one.
Good stuff.
Kind of fun
That
that
was
you
fun.
picked five teams on chips, and I had two of my teams having one chip.
Yeah, but I was thinking about those other squads.
Yeah,
I like, and I would have picked them, and
they
then
just
like they were, yeah, the players
it's
left.
probably
So,
yeah, it probably doesn't actually reflect the like. I mean, yeah, theoretically, this draft could go differently if like yeah.
dude, just depending on who gets the first pick.
Yeah. And if you go
Yeah,
Warriors one and then like I go, Spurs two, you could I don't know, you could actually the issue is Lakers have to be the top pick. So but yeah. Lakers are only taking guys off the board for the Lakers and for the Cavs and the Heat, really.
yeah, right, exactly. Wow, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a great quiz. Anyways, that wraps up, I guess, all we got for episode 104 of Spin Hoops Pod.
Holler at ya. Fun fact, I was looking at Michael Finley basketball reference in the 1996-1997 season. He played 83 games because he got traded from Phoenix to Dallas. We'll be here all summer spin hoops, baby. Holler at ya.
Peace.